So if you like this,
oh dear, that's a big one. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's another freaking. Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude, this might be like 12, 13 pounds. Oh my god. Oh my god.
you're probably gonna hate this, but that doesn't mean it's all bad. Stay tuned. We're gonna walk through this whole MLF, FLW buyout kind of deal. I'm gonna give you some unbiased pros, cons, my perspective. Welcome to mikeybalzz Fishing, guys. As you know, we're going to talk about this MLF FLW buyout. But before we get started, I need to give some stuff away. You guys were nice enough to watch my latest video where we did like a make your own chatterbait thing with the D&M custom based chatterbait, and part of that was a giveaway to a random commenter a bag of D&M custom based goodies. So here's what we're gonna do. I did a random number selection to pick the comment, and let me see what the name was. Ranger Bull, RANGERBUL. You have 31 subscribers. You dropped a comment on there. Your comment was randomly chosen as the winner. So what I need you to do, dude or chick or whoever you are, is go ahead and shoot me a message on Facebook, mikeybalzz Fishing, or jump on Instagram, mikeybalzz Fishing, and shoot me a message. I just need to verify who you are, and I will send you all your goodies. Hey, Bog, say hello. Bog. Everybody say what's up to Bog, my ultimate fishing partner. But let's get to the juice today. So what I'm going to talk to you about is the buyout, or suspected buyout of FLW by MLF. And one thing I think people get hooked on is they either hate it or they love it. And I think there's a lot of pros and cons in each way. So a lot like the Mike Long cheating scandal deal, we're going to kind of try to step back and just kind of look at the pros, cons, benefits for everybody, whether you're pro, whether you're Joe, whoever you are, and whether you like to fish from a bank, from a boat, whether you just fish once a month, whether you fish twice a month. I'm just going to kind of break things down and look at it, because it's going to change the whole layout of tournament fishing as we know it. First things first, it's important to cite your source. FLW posted a news or a press release on their website talking about it. That's where I got most of my information. I also know a few people, so I've chatted with them, so I've drawn some information, because some of the stuff isn't really kind of out in the open. So yeah, I've definitely tapped a few sources to get some stuff, but if you want to read the article, I'll put a link to it down in the description box. But let's talk about initially the biggest change, and that's kind of what I teased at the beginning of the video, is the FLW Tour is going to become the FLW Pro Circuit. And that's like the tour level guys right now, the top level. And the biggest change that's happening there's probably two. One is they're gonna run a 6-day deal, But what's interesting is the first 3 days are gonna be classic FLW format. 5 fish, biggest 5 fish. The last days are going to be MLF style format, where it's numbers of fish. I can't remember what the size length is. I think it depends where they're fishing, but it's going to be a cumulative weight kind of deal, and run just like the MLF Pro Tour, or what is it, the BPT Tour is run right now with, you got like a referee in the boat. They're measuring the fish, weighing the fish, but it's all about numbers, not about having your 5 bigs. I'm a little old school, I'm not going to lie. In my personal opinion, not hating on MLF, because we're going to talk about that in just a second, but in my personal opinion, when you're talking about the best angler on the lake, is probably going to be graded by catching the 5 biggest fish. I know there's a little bit of luck involved in that, but at the same time, there's also risk, taking bigger risks to catch bigger fish. So I might be a little bit traditional. I hate to say that because I've never been traditional in my life, but I do think that the MLF format, although it provides sort of a template for a certain skill set, in the end, when you're measuring the best angler on the water, it's going to be 5 biggest fish. But it doesn't mean that the guys who are catching a bunch of 1-pounders and making kind of like a strategy to catch as many fish as they can aren't excellent, insanely good anglers. So what's the other big change? And this is the one I'm a little on the fence on. They're getting rid of the Forrest Wood Cup. No more Forrest Wood Cup. Now, they're going to replace it with like an Angler of the Year style kind of event. But in my opinion, just my opinion, you know, the Forrest Cup is like the World Series, the championship of fishing. I know there is the, you know, the Bassmaster Classic, which probably still is the biggest, most known. Like, even if you ask non-fishermen, they might have heard of like the Bassmaster Classic. It's that big of an event. But the only thing that concerns me, and the best way I can like describe it is like using an analogy. The Forrest Cup is like a World Series or a championship, but this Angler Cup thing, it kind of feels like a bowl game to me. I'm not exactly sure if it's really gonna, like, because it's almost like guys are coming in ranked and things along those lines. There's all these tertiary aspects to it. Whereas, like, the Forrest Cup is, you qualified, everybody's on an even plane. Now you have a shot to win the biggest thing in fishing. So that's one thing that I'm a little bit on the fence on. Now, as we're going through these things, I really want you to do this for me. Your opinion matters. And I think some people who are like in charge of this stuff do actually look at some of my videos, or they look at some of these comments. They want feedback on what they're doing because they have made changes. MLF made changes as they were actually going through the process. So your opinion does matter. I know FLW looks at some of this stuff. So tell me, like, as we're going through, it doesn't even have to be on what I'm talking about, my perspectives on certain aspects of it, but let me know your opinion. What do you think of this buyout? What do you think about MLF formats, MLF taking over? What do you think about how FLW is being run right now? Like, what's your perspective? Drop it down in the comments box. So we're going to drift back for a second, because one thing that I want to note, because it really is something I can relate to, disruption is dutiful. What am I talking about? Well, I look at what we did initially. You guys, you know, especially you guys, like, I put up that newt video. If you haven't seen it, go on Instagram. I pulled like one of the best topwater bites I've ever had. Hey, Bog, how you doing? Sit down, bud. Bog wants to be in the video. But one of the best topwater bites I ever freaking got on video with Super Newt. I put it on Instagram. Go check it out. But really, back in like 08, 09, 2008, 2009, we were disruptors. You know, what I did with video and fishing on YouTube wasn't happening. There was not many people doing it. There were, as I've talked about in the past, there were like 20, 25 of us doing it. And I actually did a video on this before. We disrupted a format. Prior to that, it was if you had money to get a network TV show, if you had money for camera equipment, all this technology became a lot more accessible, and we disrupted a system. I know you guys, like, everybody has their own opinions on Guggen Squad and that. Once again, an example of disruptors. Guys that just took like a concept and took a traditional market, a traditional way of doing things, blew it all up. And MLF is kind of like that, but what's interesting with MLF is that, you know, they do want to make money. Let's be perfectly frank. You know, Boyd Duckett, in his quote on the FLW article, talked about how it's for the anglers. You know, they're trying to grow the sport of tournament fit. That's true, but it's all about framing. They want to make money, dude. And so they're trying to disrupt and create a different format and have kind of a monopoly and bring all these tournament conglomerates together. It's almost like what Google did, where, you know, it's like, oh my God, that little company right there is working. Let's grab that one. And because of all the kind of diverging specialities, there's kayak fishing and there's bank fishing. There's all kinds of different fishing going on. I think one of the things that MLF is trying to do is they're trying to bring tournament fishing all into this one umbrella that has a lot of power and a lot of capital power, a lot of money power, which is fine. It's good, because if they make money, then the anglers are going to make more money. Hopefully, you know, they're going to have to fight for their I don't know, their just pay and stuff, but it is good because it grows the sport. But let's not kid ourselves, it is about money. And, you know, hopefully there is more money in fishing because it opens more doors for more people to get involved, which is something that we all want to do. But one of the big concepts with this is disruption. Keep that in mind. You know, MLF is looking to disrupt the market. Disrupt it, change it in their way and make their way the standard, which is cool, because once you start down a road with disruption and breaking things up and changing things, you never go back. You can never rewind the clock. Back to the details. So the FLW Pro Tour is going to basically become like a feeder chain, like a minor league. And I know they don't like that term, but let's be honest, that is what it is. The FLW Pro Tour is going to be a minor league because it's going to feed into the MLF BPT Tour. So it is going to be at a lower level, but it's also a different animal. It's going to work slightly different because it's half of traditional fishing, traditional tournament fishing, and it's half of MLF fused together. And the same people that are running FLW are probably going to be the same people that are running it even when it's this FLW Pro Tour. So there's going to be a lot of carryover from, you know, these more traditional tournament administrators, tournament orchestrators. So let's talk about some of the lower levels of FLW, the Costa Series, the BFL, things along those lines. So this is what's kind of interesting, is they're reducing the actual entry costs. I forgot what the actual numbers are, but they are reducing the entry cost to these events, because when FLW still owns it, but over the years they've gotten more and more expensive. It's actually one of the reasons that I kind of stopped fishing, because the price kept going up and going up. FLW probably has some of the best run lower level or amateur pro kind of BFL level tournaments, like across the board. They're super smooth, they have decent payouts, they get a lot of traction with local anglers, they fish some great lakes. Great operational organization, but the prices were going up. However, one thing that the press release didn't mention is, since these entry fees are going down, what's the payout going to look like? Is the payout going to be going down as well? They've also mentioned that they're going to be paying out more. I believe it's on the Pro Tour, but I think they're doing it on the BFL and the Costas too. Well, if you have less dollars spread out across a larger field of anglers, it's got to bring the payout down. But there's no mention of that in the press release. But, you know, based on simple logic, you know, numbers, unless MLF and BPT is pumping a bunch of extra money into these local tournaments, there's definitely going to be a lower payout for these lower kind of level grassroots tournament. So I feel like I've been a little bit of a negative Nancy. I hope that's not the impression that you're getting, because I'm really trying to look at the pros and cons and step back and be open to what's happening. I'm not big into tournament fishing anymore. I'm a little jaded with tournament fishing, and I really have tried to shoot videos, because that's something that I love doing. I love interacting with you guys via the video. I love learning and capturing that. But I might fish like a BFL here and there if I did. But in the end, like, I'm not super down on this. It's definitely a change, and I'm trying to look at how that change is going to affect tournament fishing in general. One of the things that I absolutely love that they're doing, that they talked about in the press release, is opening up the grassroots level of tournament fishing to more regions and more anglers. How are they doing that? Well, they're increasing the amount of Costa Series, which is kind of like that Am Pro, right? Like right now it'd be one level under the FLW Tour. It's a great series. It is a bit expensive. You know, I think it's right now it's like $1,900 as a boater. It is expensive, but the payouts are good. They fish some cool lakes, and it's a regional deal. I'm all about grassroots, local, regional representation, and by increasing those kind of like Am Pro, semi-pro tournament venues, or tournament, what would you call them? Tournament series, I guess. They're really opening it to a lot of guys who want to access that mid to upper level, but can't like throw themselves at fishing. They don't have the money. They have family commitments. But it's a cool opportunity for like grassroots people who are like, hey, I want to go at a higher level, but I don't want to have to travel like 20 hours across the United States. So that is a great opportunity. One thing I'm a little bit disappointed in is the BFLs are going to stay the same. The BFLs kind of like that entry level. I don't want to call it pro, because it's not, but it's entry level like tournament fishing at a little bit higher level. But hey Bob, what's up? They're gonna stay the same except for the lower entry fees, which is cool. But I would like to see them expand like the regional kind of resonance of those. I'm all about the grassroots guys. I'm about like people, like I think some of the best sticks come from like these local regions, whether it's like guys that just fish the state of Florida or like up here, Gunnersville, Pickwick, Wilson. These guys, these local dudes are amazing, and women too. There's some actually awesome like chick sticks up here, like raw. And like these people are individuals who are, maybe they're focused on a certain region, but dude, they catch them. And more opportunities for people like that who maybe have family obligations, who maybe don't want to travel more than 10 hours. They don't want to spend that money to fish like the Costa Series level and stuff. I think more opportunities for those kinds of individuals on a well-run, well-administered like tournament sphere, I guess you could call it, would be freaking awesome. Because those are the people, that's probably one of the reasons my YouTube channel ever blew up, because I'm all about like the common normal dude. Like, I want to go out there and have fun, and that's what I'm about. I'm not all about the frizzy tizzy professional stuff and all that. So maybe that's something that maybe I have a bias towards, but I would like to see more opportunities for people, just local people that love to fish, that love the competition, but they don't have the opportunity to get out and fish those costas, whether it's a monetary thing, whether it's a family regional thing, something along those lines. It would be nice to see an expansion of that, but it looks like they are going to lower the entry fees for that, which does mean more access for people just a little lower price tag. We're all real budget when it comes to fishing lures, whatever. We're on a budget when it comes to fishing, and that's the reality. So a lower price tag on those events, it's a start. Overall, I'm giving this buyout a double thumbs up. I'm all about disruption. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if the majority of anglers are going to actually like it. But disruption is something that the change like that does lead to positive growth. Sometimes it takes some time, sometimes it takes some revisions, but in the end, once you start the ball rolling, you can't turn it back. Sadly, it does look like the 5-fish traditional tournament is kind of going by the wayside. Obviously, local events and things along those lines are probably going to keep that style of event. It is better for the fish. I do wish there was an easier way to do a 5-fish tournament and maybe pictures or something like that, but there's so many logistics in that, and it gets kind of tricky. But the 5-fish event is going by the wayside, and there's probably two reasons for that. One is, these guys at MLF, they recognize that the viewer, they're creating a TV show. They want something that's super marketable, super active, so it's fish after fish after fish, and every fish has a meaning, and there's rules to handling the fish. It creates interest in every single catch, which is easier to market. It's more, I don't know, it's more money oriented. Like it's easier to sell. I guess maybe that's what I'm looking for, which is fine because it really markets fishing to a larger audience. That action kind of gets rid of like the old kind of adage of like, oh, you go out and you sit on a pier with a bobber, that's fishing to like the majority of people. When it's not, man. Fishing's freaking awesome. It's action packed. It takes some patience and some work, but dude, there's nothing more intense than getting on a school of fish or seeing fish like surface on your top water and that. So maybe reimagining tournament fishing is a step towards increasing the amount of people that are involved in our sport, because that's what it's all about. If you're not growing, you're dying. And maybe this is a step in that direction to growing in a different way that we need right now, because we need fishing to be more involved with more, or we need more people more involved with fishing. So that's my take on it. Obviously, it's kind of like a back and forth pro and con. I want to hear your perspective. Drop it down in the comments box. Maybe let me know anything that I missed or any kind of perspectives that you might. Dude, I'm all about a conversation. If you want to disagree with me, call me out on something, have at it. I like that kind of stuff, because those are the real conversations that lead to something. They lead to a dialogue. They lead to different points coming out. Doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean I'm right. But we can actually get somewhere when we start having that conversation, especially about something that we love as much as fishing. It's our pastime. It's something we're passionate about. It's something that I know in my life, if I didn't have, I wouldn't be me. So on that note, drop your comments in the comments box. Make sure to check out Bass Attitude with some balls hats if you like balls on your head. Say goodbye to Bob. Bob, come here. Say goodbye to Bob. And we are out. Hopefully next time we'll see you on the water, guys. Let me know what you think, and tight lines.